Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a first perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys that we definitely want you guys to stick around for, so please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, today we have a pretty interesting show here because I want to react to some comments that Stephen A. Smith had to make about the NBA All-Star Game and All-Star Weekend in general. Obviously, depending on when you see this particular show, you may know what I think about it. I thought that the game was a waste of time. I did not watch the game because I already knew what I already knew what to expect. When I did see the highlights of it, I was so happy that I did not stay up late and watch that game, number one. Number two, the lack of stars being available for the All-Star, for the slam dunk contest, I think spoke volumes, and it was an embarrassment and an indictment more than having a person that just came out of the G League to come and save the day. It took that, really. Like all of these stars that we have, that's what it took to save the NBA. And funny enough, this morning I was kind of combing through the internet, and I saw on Twitter that Stephen A. Smith was a bit amped to get to work today on ESPN First Take because he said that he had a lot of thoughts about the All-Star Game and NBA All-Star Weekend. So when he finally made his way into the office, they asked him about it on ESPN First Take, and he totally went off, and I 100% concur with every single word that he said. So for those of you who missed what he had to say, take a listen to what he has to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to every single thing he had to say. Take a listen to that.
It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be a part of a great weekend, great players, but that is the worst basketball game ever played.
How do you fix it?
I don't know if you can fix it. I mean, I give Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, those guys are like competing. Joel was imploring some of the guys to play harder, to try to get some defense in, but no one got hurt. They put on a show for the fans, but that is a tough game to sit through. I'm not going to.
Okay, Stephen A., starting with you here. Did you enjoy the All-Star Game? Be honest with America.
Hell no. And by the way, I'm always honest. I don't lie. People are not important enough to lie to, okay?
I was just ad-libbing. Go ahead. I wasn't alluding to that. It was just TV talk.
I'm just letting you know, hell no, I didn't enjoy it. There's a couple of things. Number one, I applaud Mike Malone so much. He's such a great coach, great guy, and he's right on the money. The reality of the situation, here's what's inexcusable. It's pathetic as the all-pro game was in football. It's kind of understandable, guys, because football is a violent sport, and we get all of that. And I'm not trying to say that you need to go all out as basketball players for All-Star Weekend because you got the second half of the season to consider, even though it's less than the second half of the season because you only got about 23 or 24 games left on the schedule. What I'm trying to say about the sport of basketball is that we don't need to see an all-star game taking place where you play harder in summer competition when you're working out than you do at the all-star weekend. If you can go and play in summer league competition, I don't mean summer league as in an organized league. I'm talking about go to the gym and watch these guys work out in the summertime, in the off season, okay? They're working out in the off season, and we all know they're not going all out, but they play harder than what you saw last night. There was no effort whatsoever. What we should be able to see, other than dunks, we should not be able to look at a basketball game and know that anybody could be on the court with you based on the effort you're putting on display. It just reeks of a level of arrogance and taking fans for granted that we continue to lament. So again, you know what? I just look at it from that perspective, and I applaud Coach Malone for highlighting the flagrant lack of effort. Again, in the sport of football, it's perfectly understandable, Wendy. It's perfectly understandable. In the sport of football, where you don't want to see that physicality because it's a violent sport. But in basketball, they play in the summer leagues. They play in the off season harder, considerably harder than they played yesterday. So that's just the game. The slam dunk contest, well, you know what? No pun intended, but I guess white men can jump because McClung put on a show and he did a damn good job. And I applaud him, but I also was listening. That's right. I also want to harken back to what Vince Carter pointed out, the ultimate slam dunker, for crying out loud. Watch this brother throughout his career was something spectacular. And he talked about the want it factor, how badly McClung wanted to be there. So if you're an NBA player out there, particularly NBA All-Stars, I want you to take this into perspective. A G League player won the slam dunk contest. He showed up at All-Star Weekend, wanted it badly, and out-dunked supposedly the greatest basketball players on the planet. And we
And
all
Stephen A.,
know.
we're going to get into that in just a little bit.
Sure, no problem. And so we get all of that, right? Thank God for Damian Lillard, because when we thought about the three-point contest, I'm like, what the hell is Julius Randle doing in this three-point contest? I'm a Knicks fan. What the hell is Julius Randle doing in that contest? But thank God Damian Lillard showed up and reminded everybody of Dame Time and Dame Dollar.
So you heard him there. I 100% concur with everything that he said. 100%. It was embarrassment. It was an embarrassment. And I don't understand how we got to this point. I don't understand how we got to this point. I just get a sense that the current direction things are going in is that the group that is being least prioritized are the fans. And the irony is what is the NBA without its fans? What is it? What is any sports league without its fans? What is it? What do you have? You have the Rucker Park. You have some of these famous, basketball gyms around the country. That's what you have. So to me, I don't understand why the fan is not always at the forefront when we're taking these things into account. I don't know why you wouldn't want to go out there and put on a show for the fans. I don't understand that. I fundamentally don't understand that when they're the ones that support the product. I mean, I don't get it. Maybe I'm looking at this thing the wrong way. Maybe I need to read more business books. Maybe I need to do something else. Maybe the business administration I studied in school, maybe it wasn't good enough. I don't know what it is, because one would think that you would try to do everything to make your customers happy and make them feel satisfied. That's what one would think. But in this kind of world we live in, it's like a warped reality. It's almost like we're in a twilight zone where everything is reversed. It's like, well, why should the NBA players care? And I'm like, what? Why should the league care what the fans think? What? So if the fans are not part of the equation, how do you make money? How does it work? Where does the money come from? What are the various revenue models? How does it work? How does it work? So take away the fans. How do you account for ticket sales in the arenas? When I heard that NBA ticket sales account for about roughly 40% of the revenue. So, okay, you just move off 40%. Okay, and then TV deals. Okay, nobody's watching. So where does that money come from? I don't know if people are lost or just flat out confused. And the irony in all of this is you have fans arguing against themselves. But why should they care about the fans? You are the fan, fool. Duh. You are the fan, fool. You arguing against yourself. You're basically saying, why should they care about you? Hello? Is anybody home? Is anybody home? I think Stephen A. Smith was 100% on the money, number one. Number two, I'm glad he made as big a deal out of it as he did. Because it was that it was that bad. I've been watching the NBA for 20 plus years. I've watched almost all the All-Star games in that time span. And this one was the least exciting to me. Think about where we are, that we're talking about a G League player saving the slam dunk contest. Think about that for a moment. Think about, and what what I'm patiently awaiting is the people, the spin masters out there. They're going to sit up there, twerk it up, and tell us why, no, we're looking at this thing the wrong way. This is still the greatest era ever. This is still the most advanced. So if they're the most advanced, why don't they compete? Why are they afraid to compete? They're too advanced to compete, huh? There's a serious problem here. And as the coach, what's his name? Michael, coach of the Denver Nuggets, I forgot his name. I don't know how we solve this issue. Because it needs to be a shift in the attitude. It needs to be a shift in the attitude. Now, there was a segment when they were talking about in that same soundbite when they were later on talking about maybe LeBron is the culprit because LeBron decided not to compete. I don't even think it's LeBron. Funny enough, I don't want to blame it on LeBron. You know why? Because they're not, all of those people are not LeBron. LeBron is one person. He may represent something large, but he's still one person. You know how embarrassing it is? You got to have players like Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving and these guys imploring his colleagues. It's like, yo, bro, we out here embarrassing ourselves. Let's try to play defense. To me, it's just like one big peacocking contest. You know what the NBA All-Star Weekend looks like to me now? It's like Fashion Week in Paris or Milan. That's what it is. The NBA All-Star Weekend now is Fashion Week in Paris and Milan. Who has the most drip? Who has the most jewelry? Who has the coolest outfit? All right, let's come out here and let's show you guys how we can dress. Dudes put more attention into their clothes than they did into the game. They put more effort into their clothes than they did the game.